Hello everybody and welcome to lesson number 10 of your first topic, which is an introduction to media studies, and this lesson is all about music videos. As we're now coming to the end of the topic, there's only a few lessons left, it's really important to generate some feedback on how you've been doing within these lessons. So your teacher is going to come around and circle one of the icons on a feedback form. These can be found in your student booklets. And again, your job is to find that icon on the guide, decide which one of the three sentences applies to your work, write that in where it says teacher feedback, and then put a note on how you're going to improve that. Don't forget you do need to put in the date and the topic title. The topic, of course, is Introduction to Media, and the teacher feedback is the bit from the guide. The how to improve is from you. So if, for example, your teacher has circled the clapperboard and you've decided that that means you need to use more media terminology, one way you could improve that is by reading through a terminology list, or making flashcards, or having a terminology quiz. So, on to our first task of the lesson. What percentage of music do you think is downloaded? What percentage is streamed? And what percentage is purchased physically, so on a CD or vinyl? Back in the 1980s, you can see that the majority of music sales were made up of vinyl. There was a small percentage which was cassette tape, and again another small percentage that was something called 8-track tape. By the 1990s, things had drastically changed. Cassette tape had expanded its dominance over the industry. Vinyl, which used to be the biggest, has shrunk considerably, and a newcomer on the scene, CD, has taken up a vast share of the pie. Now what you can see here is that these other forms of physical media, CD and cassette, were more popular because you could take them with you. They were more portable. You could have them in a car. You could have them in little personal CD or cassette tape players. Whereas vinyl, you needed a big piece of hardware which you couldn't really move. Another decade later, in the 2000s, we can see the dominance of the CD. We can see how it has completely overtaken all other forms of music media. CD at this point was the main way everybody in the world listened to music. By the 2010s, technology had developed yet again. CD was still the main way people listened to music, but we can see two new formats of media coming in here: downloads and streaming. Downloads was where you would take a file and save it onto your computer or device, whereas streaming was listening to it as it was live on the internet, which we're more familiar with today. Again, downloads and streaming were becoming more popular because it was more convenient for users and it suited the way they wanted to listen to music better. Yes, the quality was also improved to some extent, but really it was about convenience and what the audience wanted to do with the music, and it was much more about having it computer-based than on a physical thing like a CD. Most recently, we can see that although CDs are still used by some audiences, the streaming and downloads markets have drastically increased. In fact, you can see that streaming makes up for over 75% of the way people listen to music, and that's from the advent of smartphones, broadband internet technologies, and apps such as Spotify. Analysing and discussing how audiences consume music as a form of media is a great way of starting a lesson on music videos. Although music videos themselves are a unique form of media, how audiences want to engage with music is what's fundamentally changed over the last 20, 30, 40 years. Not only do we want to listen to our music, but we also want to participate in the music and have some form of interaction, and that's down to e-media technologies. So here we have our title slide for this lesson, and as you can see, we're going to be discussing music videos. Again, as always, in the bottom left you can see our topic number. This is our first topic, an introduction to the media, and this is lesson number 10. Our learning objective today is to learn about different types of music video, their conventions, and their use as a promotional tool. So we have a basic, moderate and advanced success criteria here. Hopefully by the end of this lesson you'll be able to cover all three of these. We're going to explore examples of music videos. We're going to consider how music videos serve as a promotional tool, and then return to our discussion about how e-media and digital technology allows artists to be independent from any major record label or industry influence. So generally speaking, there are three different types of music video, and you're about to see an example of each type. What we're hoping is that you'll be able to spot the differences between them. So you should be able to work out what makes them unique and what their unique and individual conventions are. Unfortunately, I cannot include the actual music videos in this lesson because of copyright issues and YouTube not allowing that. The example I was going to use for this particular slide was Michael Bublé, It's a Beautiful Day. Now this can be found on YouTube, and if you search online you should be able to find a copy of the official music video. Again, unfortunately I can't show you the video that we were going to use, but I was hoping to use the Arctic Monkeys' I Bet That You Look Good on the Dance Floor for this example. And for the third and final example, I was going to use Hey Now by London Grammar. Take a few minutes now to try and fill in a chart or table like this. What were the three types of music video? What could we call them? How would we define them? And then, what are the conventions? What are their expected ingredients that we saw within the examples? Now that we've explored different types of music videos, it's important to take stock of where we might be able to access music videos. Where can we actually see them? Where can audiences consume music videos? Along with traditional forms of media or old media such as television, where you have channels such as MTV or music television, there are many other channels on television and on satellite services and cable services that provide music videos. But I think really we should be talking about the most popular ways people watch music videos now, which is online. And again, it speaks to why music is streamed a lot. We said at the beginning that streaming is now the most popular way of listening to music, but this isn't just the music. It also takes into account platforms such as YouTube, where you can watch the video and listen to the music. I know a lot of people, when they're working, for example, have music video playlists on in the background through YouTube. Vevo is a video hosting service which was created by the big three record labels. So Universal Music Group, Sony Music Entertainment, and EMI, and Warner Music Group as well. They all license their content to Vevo. Vevo is basically a small company set up with all these three record labels, and Vevo then hosts them and does all the legwork to put them onto YouTube. We also now need to consider what the purpose of a music video is. Is it purely entertainment? From a business sense, the most important use of a music video is the promotion or the marketing of a band, artist, album, song. The video acts as an advert. From an audience perspective, however, the video is another way to engage with the music they love, to feel part of their community or share with their friends and family. Identifying with music in a music video can help to form part of our identity and form part of who we are as a person. So it's about enjoying the product, it's about engaging with the product, but it's also much more of an emotional tie than just simply entertainment. Taking a look at the business side of things, how do you think bands or artists and musicians make their money? As you can see here, although some of their income is generated from the music itself, most of their money comes from performances, so that's shows, concerts and gigs, with some coming from merchandise and personal sponsorship, although that is really only for those super megastars who can attract the attention of big brands. Spotify pays whoever holds the rights to a song somewhere between 0.006 to 0.008 of a cent, so we are talking fractions of pennies. The rights holder, the person who holds the rights, has to then split the earnings between the record label, producers, artists and songwriters, and whoever else has a share within that particular song. Take Ed Sheeran's The Shape of You, for example. This is the most streamed song on Spotify. It's had over 2.4 billion streams. That means it's generated through this revenue somewhere between 0.006 and 0.008 cents per play, about $10 million. Now $10 million seems like a lot of money to you and me, but when you consider this is the most streamed song of all time, and streaming is the most used way of listening to music, and it's had over 2.4 billion plays, to have only generated $10 million seems somewhat stingy. Shape of You was also written by Ed Sheeran and 5 other songwriters, and it was produced by Ed Sheeran and 1 other producer. So that's 7 people that have a share of this money. Ed is signed to the record labels Atlantic, Asylum and Elektra. All these 3 record labels and management companies are owned by a parent group called Sony BMG, and they probably have a 50-50 split on the profits as well. Now, most artists wouldn't get that. An upcoming band or someone who's just starting out in the music industry, if they get signed to a label, might be getting 20% of the profits, but they're not generating anywhere near as much as $10 million per song. So you now have the question of whether or not you think this is right. Do you think the creator of the song should have more than a label that gets the song out there? And hopefully now you can start to see why music videos are important for artists, because they can drive traffic to their streaming platforms so they can stream their music and hopefully generate more money. Based on what we've been talking about so far, how important do you think a music video is for the success of a musician, band or artist? Take a few minutes now to jot down your ideas. Why might a music video be important? Obviously, a music video can be very important for a musician, band or artist. That's why we have so many of them and so many artists use them. A video can connect an artist and a listener, bring them together, as well as connecting the listener to a wider audience. A bad video can suck the life out of a song, but a good one can make a song become a hit. YouTube is the largest streaming music service in the world. It's bigger than Spotify, Beats and iTunes combined. And it is video focused. Nobody's really putting anything on YouTube that's just audio. Visuals are a very important factor in modern media. This is an example of convergence. Spotify are adding video content to their platform. So video is very, very key in the creation of media content. Most social networks are visually based. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, they're all visual. Now the audio is obviously important, but when you have a space where people can look at those posts, then obviously you want some kind of visual video content as well. A record label is a company or an agent that works for and with music artists and does all of their kind of campaigning. So it will book shows, handle their press, will organise recording studios, will do their marketing, and in return take a huge percentage of the money that that band or artist makes. So what are the benefits for an artist, a musician, to sign a contract with a record label? So here we can see the three major record labels that exist at the moment. We have the Warner Music Group. You may recognise the name Warner from Warner Brothers. So the Warner Music Group, who are valued at around about $16.5 billion, with artists such as Alt J, Bruno Mars, Cardi B, Charlie XCX, Coldplay, Ed Sheeran, Sia, and many, many more. You also have the Universal Music Group, from such fame as Universal Studios, with a company value of around $33.5 billion. And they have artists such as Taylor Swift, Kanye West, Rihanna, Adele, Queen, Lewis Capaldi, and again, many, many more. And the biggest music label at the moment is Sony Music, with a company value of around $38.5 billion, with acts and artists such as Harry Styles, Beyonce, Childish Gambino, Miley Cyrus, Michael Jackson, and so on. You may have heard of media moguls such as Simon Cowell. Simon Cowell has his own record label, and many artists have their own record label. Kanye West, for example, has his own record label, but that is owned by Universal Music Group, so it has the support and backing of these major record labels. So what are the benefits? Well, finance. Record labels have a lot of money, so they can help bands and artists make better content, have better producers, have better recording studio, better equipment, and make better music videos, and just generally raise their profile. Record labels also have connections. This could be business connections, so they have a way to get your music video onto MTV or on a channel, or get you performing on the Graham Norton show. They can get you slots on concert bills, such as playing at Wembley Stadium. They have recording studios. They have a lot of business connections with other people. And also, they have a lot of experience. The big three record labels have been operating for well over 60 years. And with every record label, you get management. A record label will assign a manager to a band or artist who is experienced, knows what they're doing, and can help package the band to make them more sellable, to tell them which songs are the ones they want to be releasing and when, and all that kind of thing. So a record label is a company who specialises in music promotion, recording and distribution. So there are many benefits for a band or artist to be part of a record label. And obviously the benefit for the record label is financial. They're going to take a huge percentage of the money that these musicians make. Why do you think that some bands and some musicians don't want to sign to a record label and they want to remain as an unsigned artist? Well, being on your own gives you freedom, creative freedom to make and release the music you want to, where you're not being told what to do to just simply make money. Finance, obviously record labels do take a large percent of the money a band generates, especially in the early years. Being unsigned means you would keep the lot, although that may ultimately end up being less without the support of a label. And independence. Working for yourself means you can focus 100% on your career and your business. A record label has other interests. You might have heard about labels dropping artists when they don't perform very well, or if they do something in their personal and private lives that they think is going to bring bad press. So it can be a lot more stable to be on your own. Here you can see the top 2 unsigned music artists on Spotify. It's now very much possible for people to be an unsigned artist because you can upload your own music to YouTube, to Spotify, and you can create your own music videos. A smartphone is powerful enough to create a very good music video without the need for the support and finance of a record label. So technology has actually allowed for a lot more bands and artists to remain unsigned and challenge the traditional way that the music industry is used. Without the support from a record label, how can an unsigned band, artist or musician actually be successful? Of course, the advent of technology has allowed bands, musicians and artists to be a lot more independent when it comes to creating and promoting themselves. E-media, for example, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, these are fantastic ways for musicians and musical artists to promote themselves. Smartphones. The latest phones are so high quality and have so many decent apps on there that they can create their own music videos, edit their own music without the need for expensive producers and recording studios, and take control of their own music. Obviously, the advent of home computers. Modern PCs and laptops are cheap enough and powerful enough to run even the most sophisticated of software. So a few YouTube tutorials, a little bit of special effects, and you can create the best music videos to compete with those that the major record labels create every day. And obviously everything is digital technology, music equipment and the price of music equipment and setting it all up in your own home studio is relatively easy and cheap. You don't need hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of recording equipment now to do the job. That brings us to our final learning check of the lesson. So as always, have a look at these 4 boxes and see if you can complete them. Can you summarise the lesson? Give yourself a rating for how much effort you put into this lesson. Answer the key questions. And what question would give us the answer, a record label? We've now come full circle and are back to our title slide. Again, just having a look at our title of music videos. Do you feel you have successfully completed the learning objective and the 3 success criteria? As always, here we have the specific terminology that was used within this lesson. As an extension activity, why don't you storyboard a music video? Pick a song you like and create a new music video for it. As always, we now have some exam questions or examples of questions where the content from this lesson might feature on your exams. Well done, and congratulations to getting all the way through this lesson, and I look forward to talking to you in the next one.